Feature Friday.
The freshest.
What up, people? Welcome to Feature Friday. Today is Friday, and we're checking out some Indian classical music.
That's right. Let's dive deeper. It's obviously been one of the genres that we've been enjoying in the channel, but we've never actually had a chance to dive deeper into the actual genre and into the actual folklore and history of it.
And I have so many questions,
Yes.
and the curiosity has been sparked in so many different videos with so many different styles itself in the classical Indian music genre overall. That
I have to say, obviously impossible to try and fit all the artists, all classical pinnacle artists in the title, as you can see, and obviously who we're going to check out. But we try to do as many new names as we possibly could. Some familiar names. I am familiar with, for example, Mahesh Kale or Mahesh Kale. I think it's Kale.
Kale. I think it's Kale towards the end of the
we did review that. I reviewed that with my father, actually, because Bale was a bit ill. So we're probably going to start with that. This is something I've never seen before. But I do also want to say, enjoy our song.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Is it possible? Ooh, baby. Tell me what I gotta say. Yeah. Is it possible? Ooh, baby. There's nothing impossible to take. I know you like to leave me high and dry, imagining all the things in my mind. I know you got a very wicked game, and I'm not trying to make it right. There's nothing you could do or say to try to make me run away. No, there's nothing you could do or say to try to make me change my ways. Oh, baby, I'll take you far with a little prayer in my mind. Tell me this is worth a try. Is it possible? Baby,
Tell my chicas it's impossible.
tell me what I gotta say. Or is it possible? Yes, baby, there's nothing impossible to take. There's nothing you could do or say to try to make me run away. Is it possible?
Hey, it's impossible,
Ooh,
possible.
baby,
Tell my chicas it's impossible.
tell me now, I wanna stay.
Hey, tell my chicas it's impossible. She took a photo and told me I look stunning. She just ain't that's a rode like a pony. She kept bouncing up and down, never turn around. So I thought I should just treat you like a bunny. Hey, like a pawn here. Just in where you go, what position you get on. So we'll just come here. You're all soaking wet and I just broke my bed. So I guess welcome to my boat pier. Possessive, I let you be aggressive. If you ask me, I call it being expressive, progressive. Make it harder, that's what your test is. Just keep bouncing up and down like a spaceship. Hey, don't get me checks on payslips. I like my cash shit, no the stasis. If you try me with a stasis, I better blow up like a spaceship. Tell my chicas it's impossible.
Yeah, that's right. I just want you also to, commentate at the beginning of everything before we dive deep into anything. How incredibly overwhelming the support has been, like the commenting section on that community post for like your suggestions to do this made it really difficult to pick a list. So I hope you enjoy everything that we're about to discover. Majority of it is new, so
The good news is,
Yeah.
well, I think all of it is new. I think the good news is we can always do a part 2. So if you'd like us to dive even deeper or proceed to learn more, let us know.
All right, so this is Mahesh Kale at Surnava TV, where I think he's like a main host in the show.
An MC.
Yeah, like I think there's like a judging system panel, and he decided to, display all his amazing singing capabilities a cappella to begin with.
From what I know, and this is what you guys sent through, it isn't that he's sort of being judged or anything like that. Or
No,
he's
I'm
not a
saying
participant or anything like that. I think he was actually a guest, and because it's like rock, because he is sort of like a pinnacle figure in in India in terms of classical. He was invited. Now the interesting thing about here is that it's kind of as raw as it gets. There's no really. He's just sort of, the stage is yours, and this is what happened.
Yeah, he started a cappella, I think.
A bunch of children as well. So. Wonder who's in the harmonium. He might be one of the judges.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's part of the panel.
Can I talk about pitch perfect?
The level of volume control is so delicate.
It's awesome.
Ah, look at that freaking positioning right here. So he's working with a wider set, completely different to everything else that we have seen before in classical singing. So you have a bigger mouth, a bigger opening of the mouth right in front of in the dip of the lips. Not so much in the jaw modulation itself, but like right in between the center of the lips. So that means that he's actually finding some type of like anchoring and resonance towards the chest. And then you can also see the flare nostrils, where the sound is also being directed in both ways. So you're pushing down, but you're also reaching forward, and through twanginess, you're bringing the sound down through the nose.
Right.
This is a really good angle. Yeah, that modulation is insane. That's incredible. And see how tiny low the mouth modulation is? That's so cool.
That's such an interesting sounding flute. Way more.
So you see how he opened the glottal? So he was working with a closed glottal right at the beginning. Well, no, the beginning of that singing phrase, where it creates this like muffled sound where you can actually modulate volume really well. So it becomes really easy to elongate the type of breath flow and control that you want. It's giving you the maximum control, but then he popped the glottal open, and then you could hear the shift in the soft palate as well. So if you pay attention to the singing, you see that? Open glottal changes the sound completely. Sick, right? Completely full, big.
This is such a weird spiritual experience.
Everybody's in trance there.
Yeah, like a moon.
I
That's a great
know
example.
nothing about classical singing, Indian classical singing, but the display of several techniques here, it's my nerdy brain. It's going off in miles right now. This is firework inducing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say. I mean, obviously, don't take this podcast as the kind of like a one-stop shop into what would you call it? A solidified concepts. That some of the stuff that we're probably going to say, some of it may be wrong, some of it may be presumptions. Take this more as a kind of like a podcast of discovery. I think
That's right.
those who are familiar with the podcast, especially with genres in which we don't know, things we may be familiar with, techniques that we may be familiar with, but it's really difficult to utilize a criteria that comes from a completely different part of the world
Yep.
to then apply it to in a scenario like this. Hence why I was really intrigued in this podcast. I mean, you can definitely tell, again, as you said, prevalence of specific techniques or showcases of, much more twang, full belts, or full folds, sorry, not full belts.
Well, full fold, it's the closest thing you
To
can
the
get
belt.
to a belt
Yeah.
before you belt.
So
yeah.
you are seeing all these sort of familiarities of things. I mean, to a certain extent, you also saw like some sense of, towards the end of the singing phrase, something that you do kind of see familiar in the West, which is the way they a lot of the time you get coached to finish sentences is through vibrato, right? So you kind of did see that in here.
Yeah.
It's just his journey towards that execution. It's completely different, and yeah, it's funny because it's ironic. It's like if I was intending to make a pun, but it's like because of his geolocation where he learned to sing, his journey towards music is completely different as well. So
Yeah, the
it's really
analogy
intriguing.
from anywhere, from any perspective that you wanted to see it, it applies. Yeah.
I do apologize if we should be able to recognize some faces. I suck with face recognition and stuff. She does seem familiar, but I have no idea.
It's one breath.
Virtually, if it was an instrument.
Dude, look at that mouth modulation. It's so peculiar. Great angle, by the way. Good cameraman. That's beautiful.
नाही कळला अंत पार याचा कानडा राजा पंढरीचा कानडा
I never know how they know.
पंढरीचा
Well, he was calling it, but what the count was?
पंढरीचा वेदा नाही वेदा नाही वेदा नाही
They need to go in the back.
The kid, yeah, it's like, what?
वेदा नाही नाही कळला अंत पार याचा कानडा राजा
Go that block, yes?
कानडा राजा पंढरीचा कानडा राजा पंढरीचा
So he changed flutes as well.
निराकार
So these are familiar songs then, I would think, right? 'Cause
I think probably the
recognized.
only way that percussionists would have known and all the other musicians would have known to enter to what the core was, I think was probably a word.
it was it was the initiation of lyricism that actually put everybody on alert. Because
He did signal as well. I wish I
Yes.
could understand it because to me that's like one of the wonders of the world, that bloody language.
yeah,
It's so strange because it sounds so well. It's like he's already like all the letters are pronounced, right? So it's like that to me in rap, that would be like a fucking paradise.
yeah, well, yes,
And the way you sing it, especially in classical singing, everything is so elongated.
and it's so magical.
Yeah, it's so I don't know. It's so like it's like a wonder. That's what the best way I could explain it.
Yeah, to be completely honest, so far there was some information about this video. Actually, this video got suggested ages ago, and I came across a lot of information that you guys were kindly enough to share with me. And apparently, the wonder of this video itself is that this was an impromptu. Nobody rehearsed it. Nobody.
That's what it felt like
common.
at the start.
Yeah, so it's all he's doing in the moment, right? It's like his artistry explored to the maximum in the most uncomfortable of environments, because it's TV. Like, how much more freedom? Like, there's really not much freedom in like this type of environment. So
You also have the live audience and stuff. So if that goes badly.
And his crowd control, just by being, just by expressing his art, it's like
I think that probably also comes from, he does seem to be a leading authority in this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So if he grabs a mic and he's about to sing it, you're quiet.
You will listen. It's
So,
like,
yeah.
Also,
It went viral though before. I remember
Yes.
seeing bits of this on Instagram.
Also, it's an interesting is interesting the behavior of the audience. If you pay attention, everybody's like in this retrospective type of like mood.
Yeah,
It's-
I told you
it's
it's a
like
weird spiritual experience.
Everybody it came into this like trance. Like as soon as he started singing, everybody knew how to behave. If you know what I mean, like that to me is like wild. I never thought that.
You
That
can-
could be a possibility. I mean,
you
come
can
on.
truly tell you wouldn't get a host doing that anywhere. You could truly tell the connection in between music and culture.
And
in
spirit
India,
and mind and
more than ever.
physical
Yeah.
being, yeah.
तो निर्गुण ईश्वर निराकार तो निर्गुण ईश्वर कसा प्रकटला असा विवेक
It's communal. It's a communal
It
sense.
is.
निर्गुण
Hive mind.
See, everybody they just know.
उभय ठेविले हात
Don't like it.
गटीवर उभय ठेविले हात गटीवर पुतळा चैतन्या
Feels like a prayer. We're so happy.
They cross racing. Bro, breathe.
Especially if such magic can come from a little tune.
Can you see how lifted his soft palate was? But it's lifted because of the twanginess of the singing phrase. Like, come on, look at that.
Barely see it.
Yeah, exactly. You can. It's but
gone.
look at the dent in the middle of the tongue, and the actual usage of the jaw is still very set.
Right.
Like, there's no much of like that over usage of the physical facial muscles. This is beautiful.
We'll try to find the lyrics at the end. The difficult thing about this podcast was that because we are missing, I think, like a good 40% of the experience, maybe even the 50%. So I do truly apologize. We did try. And some of you were actually kind enough to send us, incredible emails and incredible information, and not only regarding like music, but also the history of India, which I love reading those types of emails. And they're quite lengthy, but they're like a good read.
It's fantastic. It's like sitting down to do research, but it's been tailor-made for you and your own questions, It's
And-
so cool.
And it also involves these like lovely messages at the start at the end. And I really enjoy your reviews, guys. Or it's lovely to see you. Stuff like that. I hope you get to read. So, yeah, but we will try to find the lyrics as well as we can, as much as Google can provide. I think with this one we might be able to. But there's some other ones that's fucking impossible. Some of the songs are like from 1920s, mate.
Yeah, that's right, and I think that's a common theme
Yeah.
in today's podcast. You'll see that a lot of the songs have been in the culture for decades upon decades. Yeah.
Good little boy.
Yeah. Sir, what the hell was that? one breath. And you see how the larynx doesn't even freaking move.
Oof, yeah.
It's set. It's just set. You see that? Magical. Those are the biggest lungs.
I love my kid.
I love how they get. Did you see the little girl in the back? She took the biggest breath.
It's also intriguing, right? Like, why the presence of the children? I mean, essentially,
It's a kids show. It's a kids contest show. That's what it is. So there's mentors, and the kids are competing against each other.
all of them.
Yes, not the ones in the audience, but the ones that are sitting on the stage. Those are like the contestants.
Ah, I see. That
Right.
makes sense. Fair enough.
So yeah, I think that's a lightheartedness of the environment as well. The kids, they just provide natural.
You get the parents and stuff. You don't
Yes.
really have any like 30-year-old looking people there, like 25, 21. You
No,
only,
yeah.
You only essentially have both extremes, fathers and mothers and children.
Yeah, but look at this girl. She took the biggest breath just before he had to breathe,
Yeah.
because she was like, she was probably feeling it too. Like, how do you sing for so long? Look at her. You know, the biggest breath.
God, that tabla. Everyone's body language is very similar. I feel like he owns a mansion, that guy. Very nice. So call and response section. Hey! It's gonna get faster? Yeah. That shit is live, dude.
That's what you call control.
Good man. What a workout for the kids. amazing. No? Wow, dude, what the fuck? That is beautiful.
What?
Jesus Christ.
My God! How do you say thank you in Hindi?
Namaste is hello, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
But how do you say thank you? Because that deserves a thank you from him.
I'd bow down, dude.
Thank you for delivering that.
That's so odd. That experience is so odd of that video because towards the end, it nearly makes you feel quite emotional because that's essentially what music is, right? Like, and again, it is probably fair to point that we probably are missing out on 40% of the experience because we don't speak, the language, and lots of beauty lies on it. Of course, it's what united everyone in that room through the lyricism of everyone. They recognise sort of the lyrics and the rhythm of it, but in a more, what would you call it, in a more philosophical way of sort of seeing it and detaching it from its musical intricacies. That's essentially what you want to try and do with music: unite and create unexpected memories and memorable moments that the next generation will be able to carry and learn from. All of it coming out of spontaneity and impromptu
Mastery, though, absolute mastery.
It's also, again, it felt so communal from the beginning because he was sort of the leader of, I don't know, the leader of the worship, the leader of the mass, the leader of the praying session, the singing session. You can put it in any way you want, but it did feel like a hive mind. So and it's even more thought provoking when you see the presence of children that will carry out this. Well, they're essentially there tomorrow, right? So they will be the ones one of them hopefully will become like Mahesh Kale in some sense and will be able to recreate such experience because that is an experience that you remember for a good while. So that's really touching. That's behind, but despite all the musical intricacies and technicalities of things, that's a really bloody touching video.
It is,
which is really weird.
Well, it takes a very special individual to carry out such leadership in this environment without it being authoritarian, because obviously you could what I found really interesting in the whole order giving and directing of where the song was gonna go, regardless of the natural structure of the song that everybody already knew, but the manipulation of that understanding already, it was actually really magical to the point where it stopped making logical sense and it just was, right? And that particular moment creates this thin veil of absolute serenity in the midst of chaos, because there is so much chaos and in unpredictability, and that's exactly what this atmosphere was. The magic in the whatever can go wrong, we will embrace it. Yeah. So it was actually so beautiful because we were talking about the behavior and how people knew how to respond to such melodies and such lyricism right from the beginning, even when they weren't involved.
You search on the lyrics today.
Yes,
called Canada Raja
Wait.
Pandharicha.
Yes, I can. That is actually insane.
That's 14 million views. What a moment. What moment to remember.
To be completely honest, that will most likely stick in people's minds. I know that for sure it will be tattooed in my mind from this day onwards. That's for sure. Lyrics.
Let's give it a little
in
read.
Marathi and English.
Yeah, it's a Marathi song, right?
Okay.
So the original singer is Sudhir Pratake and
Patke.
Pahadeke.
Okay.
I don't know. Dr. Vasantrao and Deshpande.
Deshpande. I think it's Dr. Vasantrao Deshpande.
Deshpande. Go on, mate.
Yeah.
Put the English bit. It's at
Where?
the top. You see, there's a Marathi and
Okay.
English.
Sorry. There's not.
Wow, that's fucking helpful.
I think it's just like the romanization
Go
of
left.
the lyricism.
Go left. Maybe in the other link.
Yeah.
You're not blind, are you? Oh, you have your
No,
glasses
I
on.
have my glasses on, yeah.
Maybe here. Down. So you just sort of romanize to go up. Up, mate. Bloody hell. Up.
No, there's no English lyrics. But there's the original video here.
Well, that's a trip and a half.
Kāliṅga Radha Pandharicha, Kāliṅga Radha Pandharicha.
That's a groove, bro.
But you see how like there was this natural like hive-like already environment here, like a
That's all.
communal environment already there. So it's crazy that has been translated throughout the years, you know, like, and now we're seeing the most.
Imagine this came out in what?
Uh
50s, 40s.
well, this looks like it's like could even be in
30s.
the 30s, yeah. For all we know.
Search up Mahesh Kale on
Mahesh
Google.
Kale. Yes, I can.
I'm interested in learning a bit more about him. And given the fact that it's a podcast and we're really in no rush, we can sort of take the liberty. Just go on his Wikipedia, mate.
He's 46. I didn't know.
He looks like he's 31.
What the hell? Okay.
He's an Indian classical vocalist, renowned for his specialization in Indian classical, Hindustani, semi-classical, I don't know what that says, devotional music, including Natya Sangrit. Mahesh Kale won 63rd National Film Awards as the best playback singer
Oh
for
wow.
a classical piece in the film Katyar Kaljate Gusli.
Kushli.
Gusli. He is a disciple of Pandit Jitendra
Abhishek.
You sum in a bit, mate,
Yeah.
because fucking hell.
Sorry.
Jitendra Abhisheki. Oh, he was ranked 19th in the Times of India's top 20 most desirable men of Maharashtra in 2017. One of his
What
proudest
the hell?
accolades. He is one of the most fuckable men.
Afra.
You don't have to mute me, mate. We're deep in. YouTube can suck it.
All right.
Mahesh was born and raised in a musical family in Pune, Maharashtra, in India. He began his early music education under the guidance of his mother, Minal Kale. She had a master's in Indian classical music and was a disciple of Veena Sahasra Buddhe. Buddhe. Apologies. Mahesh gave his first solo performance at the age of 3. Mahesh holds a bachelor's in electronics engineering. Fucking hell.
What the hell?
And a master's degree in engineering management in the United States, in Santa Clara University. Mahesh is married. Well, that's good to know. And they run a non-profit Indian classical music, go left,
Okay.
arts and foundation together. Good on them. In the San Francisco Bay Area. So he lives in America.
Oh, he lives in America.
Maybe he
San
might not, but he
Francisco.
definitely has a
California.
foundation there. That's brilliant. What brilliant man.
I mean but it takes an exceptional human in all rounds and all perspectives to create such a magical element to music, because at the end of the day I was watching, you guys tagged me on this really interesting video of an Indian composer explaining his perspective on music, and how he was saying that the magic that we see behind musical compositions is just mere mathematics. So once you understand the mathematics and the science behind it, the magic per se, it's like seeing behind the curtain, right? So you finally get to understand the intricacies. And the interviewer then was asking, well, what
Have you got
wouldn't
a name?
that? Oh,
Do you
I
remember?
completely forgot.
Yeah. Fair enough, go on.
But the conversation went along the lines like the interviewer asked him, so wouldn't that take away the magic of music? Wouldn't that, make the experience less enjoyable, right? Because you then know all the tricks behind the magician, right? And he said, no, actually, you find more beauty because of its intricacies, because of the complicated aspects and the mathematics and all the logic behind it.
Well, I guess
And I was
music
like, wow.
is just patterns, right? Essentially, that's probably what all it is. It's just patterns. That's what musical notes are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I did...
And even the composition of the greatest classical Western pieces are very mathematically precise, because certain numbers of certain patterns and like in which part of the scales they work. He explained it really well. I wish I could do it justice. If I find the video, I will link it. But yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, not my area, mate.
Me neither.
Of expertise. I'm not great at maths, so...
Not me either, but I thought it was an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
'Cause I never thought there would be such a correlation between music and mathematics. You know what I mean? Like, who would have thought? But given the fact that he's an engineer, then I suppose he's seen behind the curtain.
I see the connection you're making. Right.
Do you see what I mean?
I guess. I don't
Perhaps.
know. Yeah.
Definitely an outstanding human.
Yeah, well, that's probably that's probably the conclusion. He's probably an outstanding individual in many different things.
Yes.
And that probably does translate well into music, I guess. But yeah, to see what the correlation would be of being really good at maths and then composing music. I mean...
Or understanding. You don't have to compose, but like understanding its inner works.
Yeah, because you might understand the structure.
Uh-huh.
Right? And then, therefore, the composition.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean you would straight away, I guess, you would understand the piece. Like, is how, like...
But you would come in with a way more educated guess.
I guess.
You wouldn't be blissful in
I have
ignorance.
no idea what the point I'm trying to make. I have to let this argument marinate.
Fair
and I have to
enough,
think
fair
about
enough.
this hard.
I also once worked with a musical director in here in London. That he was
geezer,
also
yeah.
that he was also a mathematician. He graduated in Cambridge
He
and
would teach maths.
yeah, and he would teach maths in like his normal day. And he was also like a very successful. He is
School
still a
master.
very a playwright and
And movies always
musical
make that
director.
relationship of it, because again, I think they're essentially just patterns, but that's what musical notes are. But I just don't know enough. I haven't looked at that argument enough to sort of.
It's crazy, right?
Awesome. Well,
Doesn't make sense to me.
one of the most familiar names, essentially one of my favorite singers that we've discovered from the indie music industry, is none other than Arijit Singh, who we plan to actually have a look at live. One of the things I got recommended a lot, given the fact that we sort of saw one, kind of like a multi-layered equation in the previous video live. In the moment, it's also interesting to look at sort of more studio-based classical pieces that have been modernized and they're popular in the current era. This is Bhola Bhandari from the movie.
Shivan.
I don't know if that's actually the name of it.
I think it is. I think it's Shivam Mahadevan.
No, I don't think that's the name of it.
No.
No.
Ah.
It's on the community post. But play it.
Yeah. Sure.
There's no video. It's just the audio. Wanted to check this out because you can notice more things in a studio version.
सुख का त्योहार मिले डमरू के ताल सुख का त्योहार मिले डमरू के ताल करे दुख पीड़ा पार जटाधारी शिव भोला भंडारी शिव भोला
It's quite cheerful.
A bit brighter. Still have the communal sense to it.
भोला भंडारी शिव भोला भंडारी
I love the inclusion of that bell. Yeah.
का त्योहार मिले डमरू के ताल करे दुख पीड़ा पार जटाधारी शिव भोला भंडारी शिव भोला भंडारी
That was one whole breath. You understand? Okay, so if you're working from the Western technique, that is the one that I'm singing with, that I'm more familiar with, because I'm yet to understand the inner works of the classical, and I think it's gonna take me a lifetime to just scrape the surface. But in comparison to what I've learned, the understanding of the singing phrase in the way that it's structured, yeah, it's obviously very possible to carry out a very long singing phrase in the way that like it is in the song. But what makes it even more challenging is the obvious addition of the intricate inner works of the singing pattern itself, because it shifts and changes, and all of those shifts and change actually don't come from the larynx modulation, which I think it might be the reason why the singing phrases sustain the breath flow so effortlessly, because there's no actual change, movement, energy exertion from this muscle group, but from the head modulation and the tongue positioning, and even the shift on inside of the mouth. So perhaps maybe that might be the reason.
We definitely know that the most noticeable thing in terms of technical disparities between the West and Southeast, the Southeast actually, is that they don't move their bloody larynx.
Yeah.
That's not trained in the same way that you. Yeah, that's like, it's so bizarre though, because it's like, how did they even come up with that?
Yeah,
And how did we come up, well, not we, but I mean in the West, that you had to move the larynx? You know what I mean? It's so odd.
It's so two
That
completely
they both
different,
went different ways.
and the results are completely different too. It's not like you're gonna get a similar result from one end to the other. You're actually getting really completely different.
Yeah. Go on, let's
That
give
is
it
so
some.
refreshing, don't you think?
शिव भोला भंडारी शिव भोला भंडारी शिव भोला भंडारी शिव भोला भंडारी ओंकारेश्वर बम बम भोले नीलकंठेश्वर बम बम भोले केदारेश्वर बम बम भोले जय शिव शंकर बम बम भोले जय शिव शंभो बम बम भोले जय त्रिपुरारी बम बम भोले शंखनाद भीगिनाद
I love this.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, that's why you would think Hindi rap is so easily finding their
Yeah, but virtually.
rhythmicality, right? Like
They're out here
it's-
rapping in classical Indian.
Yeah, because they,
And
then the cross phrasing, and they play with the dynamics of the rhythm. This is
sick.
so fun.
The phrasing is really cool.
शंखनाद श्रीनिनाद बाजे भस्मदेव सिंगार विसाजे जटा मुकुट पर गंगा विराजे भोला भंडारी भोग तोप सुर
It's a bit of a growl there, first time ever.
रुद्राक्ष सहित दान तेरा वरदान निहित भोला भंडारी तुझ में वह बल करे संकट का हल करे धूप में भी छाए हरियाली शिव भोला भंडारी 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 शिव भोला भंडारी
I would love to be like in a procession, see this live.
कण कण में है
Holy shit.
नैन न जिसको
Break it down.
सुख की आहट
You see, that's what's so different in sort of the percussion arrangements in Indian classical music, that you would never see that anywhere else. Like when he's about to do a run, you do a fill.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Are you crazy, bro?
Well, actually, the whole concept of how these songs are structured are so diverse.
And those, you could probably see a better example of it, more physical and like a more physical representation of it in the previous video, where the connection between the percussion and the vocals, it's like it's one, bro.
It is.
And the because the closest thing we've got in terms of reference is rubato. I've used that reference before, which is like that pianist is looking at you, bro. You know what I mean? You're leading, so we have to adapt as we go. And the cymbals and the minor percussion's trying to create curtains as you say different phrases, but you're leading the ball, you know.
That's
so
correct.
In here, it's always like that in that sense, but I guess I guess it's like the percussion, the hits are also aligned to the phrasing of the song.
It is.
So it's like the tabla was a piano
It
in
is.
a rubato section. That is a
that's-
crazy way of looking at percussion.
I totally agree because I don't
So
think I've
different,
ever
it's amazing.
seen it in any other part of the world
not
except
yet.
for India. Maybe Pakistan, but at the end of the day,
Well, the
they
influences
they were one, right?
I was reading about the partition. You guys sent me a really lovely email. Obviously, there's so much more that I don't understand, and I have lots of questions. But yeah, I was sort of understanding. Now I understand clearer why sort of, in Pakistan and in India, we should probably said India and Pakistan historically, right? Why the sounds are sort of so similar, and what they've also, both industry have flourished at different things as well. Like, India has, this unbelievable movie industry and sound across different regions of just India, right? So imagine in the regions that India sort of influenced, and it was all at some point one. So you can only imagine the historical, what would you call it? Not consequences, but historical trails that all of that India has left throughout the whole world, really.
Yeah, but I think the only place in the world where I've seen the percussion be the lead companion to vocals,
Yeah.
where it also provides melody and depth at the same time, is definitely in the Indian music industry. I had never even
To be more
fathomed-
general about it, would be Southeast Asia. Essentially,
Yeah,
it's the only place in the world where you'll see that approach to music and percussion.
I had never even fathomed the idea of having just vocals and percussion before.
It did, yeah. That's how crazy it is.
You know?
It didn't even bloody come to your head
It wasn't even a possibility.
in 3 years plus of you doing music.
Yeah.
So crazy.
That's beautiful.
आस भी तू है बुझने न पाए वो प्यास भी तू है तू ही मेरा राम भोले तू ही घनश्याम तू ही मेरा राम भोले तू ही घनश्याम दिन रात जाप में मैंने ही गुजारी शिव भोला भंडारी शिव भोला भंडारी
Bhola, Bhandari, Bhola, Bhandari.
शिव भोला भंडारी शिव भोला भंडारी शिव भोला भंडारी
How awesome! I mean, awesomeness.
Put the lyrics. I think we can find the lyrics of this because it
No,
is.
I tried looking for this, and I don't think, because it's a classical piece, but I think I could find like a conceptual translation of it, but I'll do my best.
Because, like, if you look at the background, if you listen to sort of the background instruments, the only thing that was, still going, it was the tampura, I think,
Yes,
and the tabla.
The tabla.
And that's it. Maybe a harmonium. I
harmonium.
wasn't able to depict that one, but maybe just the harmonium, tampura. But the way it's being mixed, you have, interesting, music notes for the first line. The hell is a P?
And an R1. I think that had to do with the rag.
Sa, na, ta, that
Yeah,
type of stuff. So it's G, E, C sharp, C, B flat, C sharp, blah, blah, blah. That is fucking strange, bro. E, C, C sharp, E major, C sharp, and C major.
That
What the
honestly,
fuck?
if you play those notes consecutively, they will sound not great whatsoever.
Go down.
It's really cool. I don't know if these are like
That's the glossary, so some of the words that you may not understand. Go down. Is that everything?
it says
Baba means father. Bhandari, one who is treasure house. One who is a treasure house. Bhola, innocent. Brahmananda is supreme bliss.
but you see there is some type of like joyous
Because this is a
aspect to
prayer,
it.
I think, from the movie. Well, you see him Murari, that means one who killed the demon Mura, Lord Krishna. Vare, Murari, Murare. Nite yanada, always in bliss. Patiha, downtrodden, helpless. That's a good word. I love that word. Downtrodden. Quite sad, but Pavana means sacred. Then
That's beautiful.
Premananda, bliss of love. Now, is this like Elden talk?
Perhaps, maybe like olden English.
Yeah, sort of like Shakespearean shit.
Yeah.
Thou shall
Yeah.
thus the apple poisoned by thee. I always love pretending that I said something, but I didn't say anything. In Shakespearean. I went from Scotland. Where was Shakespeare from? What part of England?
Sheffield.
Wow, that is so sad that we don't know where
That's actually
Shakespeare
so-
was born.
That's really
And
embarrassing.
both of us had to study it.
Embarrassing.
Some of you guys like to meme a bit, and you say like, "Oh, fucking hell, Ephra, you send me memes. You guys make them yourself." We should make a Reddit board because I see other proper YouTubers they do it.
He was born in Stratford upon Avon.
Stratford,
Stratford.
the bard
Upon
of Avon.
Yes.
Dude,
Spouse and Hathaway.
That guy lived, bro.
Oh yeah, he did.
1564 to 1616.
Yeah, he lived.
I mean, the life expectancy there was like 22. You know what I
Well,
mean?
actually, being 35
So
was
he
so old.
lived.
He lived.
But he was also quite wealthy, right? I think.
I think he gained wealth as
I think he
years.
gained weight. Just
Also-
proceeds to go Shakespeare fat.
No. No, he's the father of all. Okay. Yes.
We had to start. Yeah. So you guys.
Stratford upon Avon.
Oh, Stratford.
Sheffield.
You guys meme and you send us these pictures of like Valeska and Ephra pretending that we were in English class, and them reading this sentence and depicting 25,000 meanings from it. We did have to study Shakespeare, and I did hate it. And also, I was really good at English class. So was Walucha, but not by choice.
I think it's called regiment. It's
Well-
called discipline.
Well, I think when we were kids, we had no choice but to be good at school because
right.
we didn't go to school very often because we would be away a lot. So
yeah.
we'd have to do a lot of our own work at home.
And I don't think our parents let us lack ever.
No, because, well, first of all, we went to a private school when we were younger and when my mother taught. So we couldn't, like, the whole reputation thing was a big deal as well.
You couldn't have bad grades. Like
No,
this.
and we would ask for special permissions all the time and missed weeks, really, sometimes. So we had to be really good. And then when you sort of move anywhere else around Europe, school is like you can't miss a day in school.
That's right. That's really strange.
Regardless, maybe if you're a top athlete, a young junior athlete, because
Yeah.
I kind of, I went through that where you kind of, they allow you to not go in the first 4 hours of school or stuff like that.
It's
Of course,
like
you're training.
Mm-hmm.
But you really have no choice. You gotta keep your grades up. If not,
That's right.
see you later, alligator.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's really crazy though. It's
Isn't it, Father?
Yes.
Anyways, what do we have next?
right. So next we have
Yes. So
Zakir Hussain.
Arguably one of the best
Horse running.
tabla drummers of all tabla players of all time.
Yeah.
I had a look at his father actually when I was sort of doing this list because I made sort of this list from the top of my head, seeing the community post, and then we obviously discuss and stuff. But I love Drummer World. If you play the drums, you know that.
Do you know this channel?
Yeah, dude. If I'm not tripping, we used to have Drummer World magazines in
Ephra-
2006 and 5.
Ephra had Drummer World DVD compilations.
Yeah. So this is him explaining something called horse running, or maybe he's going to demonstrate something.
I think perhaps that's the technique.
But it's very
called-
popular, so let's give it a watch.
Let's go.
It's my area, I guess.
Indeed.
Much more than yours, but I hope you enjoy as well.
I will. I love his demeanor.
Truly a happy man.
What? Sir? We're mixing. Did you see how vocals and rhythms are so intertwined?
on their side. Drying
I
his
think
hands.
he's just drying his hands, yeah.
Boss?
He's just
It's
drying
such
his
a
hands.
weird build, though, isn't it, for like an instrument? It's so it's like it's so intricate. Everything, like everything about it is so. I'd love to see one be made
Yeah!
because
That'd be awesome.
it has so much little bits and bobs, and it all seems to be handmade. I don't
Ephra,
think you mass produce those.
Do you know what this part of the
I thought it was
tabla-
resin, but it isn't.
Because it sounds so metallic to me. Like what? That section there that gives the melody, like the most melodious timbre to the whole percussion part.
So if you remember, we checked out one of his solos.
Yes, we did.
A few months ago, and I was kind of explaining the basics of no tabla básica, tabla basics. Yeah, for beginners. There was this really good website I found that was trying to explaining the different patterns and sort of rudiments
Yes.
that you kind of follow, because essentially all he's doing it's like in drumming there will be paradiddles. There's only so many paradiddles you can do, you know.
Yeah.
And then apart from it, then it's just accentuation on different ones
Yeah.
or twos and threes and fours, and what he's doing is like, the thing is, because I don't have enough knowledge on the tabla, I don't know if it's just chopping the shit out of this. By chops I mean just
Just a flexing technique. Yeah,
you know what I mean? That, which is basically, it's not nonsense. It showcases the skills, the speed, intricacies, dynamics, and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's what he's doing. If he's chopping here, it's showing off his chops.
It does look like it does sound really complicated.
But given the sort of relationship between the vocals and sort of the pattern of the voice, I guess essentially he's also, I can't find the website. Everyone's trying to sell me a lesson.
Look at that really cool graphic. Show it.
I wish you could. Maybe I'll send it to you. It's this graphic which I really liked.
Focus.
Me encanta. Param, pam, pam. It doesn't matter. Well, the metallic bit is called a siyahi.
Siyahi.
All the strings, they're called doris. Do you know the
Okay.
strings to the side?
Yes.
I think you could essentially search this up. No, put the image up. I'll break it down for people. Put the image up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's enough. Okay, so that metallic bit that you're asking about, that sort of black bit, that I think, if I'm following the diagram correctly, that is a siyahi.
Okay.
You use a hammer to tune it.
Oh.
Now, the vajilla. Oh, interesting. That's vajilla means like bowl in Spanish.
Vajilla. Doesn't mean bowl.
What does vajilla mean?
Vajilla.
Yeah,
Vajilla.
vajilla. Yeah.
Yeah,
It means like
it
a
is.
pot, right, sort of thing.
It's like a selection of pots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So the vajilla
It's
is
China. Is what we call like in English is your China, like your dining China.
okay. So that's the metal bit,
Okay.
and it's hollow and covered with loosely stretched thin goat skin and the black spot.
It's goat skin.
Yeah, so that's the big one.
Yes.
That's what it's called. That's called a vajilla.
Okay.
And then the dahina or the dana or dina is the wooden drum.
Okay.
And this is half hollowed and covered with tightly stretched thin goat skin and the black spot. I think what he might be touching is talcum powder to dry his hands. Yeah, I think that's probably at the bottom, because you if you play congas, this is something as well you might do. Quite extreme for your blisters, but fuck it. So yeah, lots of sort of intricacies on the model. You have to sit cross-legged.
It's like a requisite.
Yeah, and the positioning of the fingers looks a bit like this, like this. That's your left, and then this is your right. Like that. You wanna, if you see him, look at his.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
press
yeah.
play.
Great point.
See how the three fingers are
His
always down.
fingers are resting on the drum itself.
Yeah.
घोड़े की चाल का रेला है इसमें घोड़े की चाल का रिदम देखिए
I know for some watching that are experts in this, may not be us. And I please add your information below.
उससे पहले एक तिपल्ली देख लीजिए
Fantastic controller.
What the fuck? I love that instrument.
It does sound like horse running.
Literally. That's sick.
Dude, this is mind blowing to me.
Because it doesn't
It's
have
like-
a bass, the harmonium is.
The harmonium guy is
And
like.
so that's super impressive, that bit there. That's like, because he showcased dynamics as he's doing the same thing. So he's able to dictate the intensity without dropping speed or missing anything. It's
Yeah.
exactly the same at a lower volume.
Yes, 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 yes.
That's quite interesting. And also
It is what you would do in singing called modulation. It's like how you modulate how Mahesh Kale was doing it at the beginning, where he was doing a elongated singing phrase, but he was modulating the volume and the intensity of the same airflow and same consistency of the track. You know, so that's how I would translate it.
yeah, I guess that would be the same. It's just, I guess in singing you can't really, like, you can't belt quiet.
You can be placed in the same positioning, but that it takes an absolute expert to do it. It's not seen common frequently because it's like a completely
But
different.
wouldn't it be called something else? It wouldn't be called a belt.
Yeah,
Like, I guess you can do a full fold.
no, because you can sing in a belting position and project really quiet in volume sound,
But still belting.
but you will still be set in a belting position. Yeah,
Oh, well, yeah, then that's essentially what this is, I think.
Right.
That is basically.
it's called modulation. Yeah, in singing, I don't know.
Yeah. It's really weird, though, because it's like ghost notes. You can play lots of ghost notes. But that, yeah, you can do them at a really, fast speed.
Mm-hmm.
But then to actually make them hits, yeah, I don't know. I guess, yeah, probably you're correct. It's just really hard to explain.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
This is so. I wish I was better explaining that, because in minor percussion, for example, essentially what you want to try and create is obviously dynamics and ups and downs and sort of, in simpler terms, you want to sort of take the audience in like a roller coaster ride sort of thing, and you want to highlight specific things and not highlight other specific stuff. But the problem is when you speed things up, it's very difficult, I guess, to modulate the sound due to the speed of things, because you still want. What's interesting is everything was you didn't miss any of the hits just because he's playing quieter.
Yeah.
Anyways, go on. But I guess you're right. He is modulating the sound of it.
Yeah.
Sort of. I mean, his finger speed is mental. It's So it's again playing with dynamics here.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I mean, and his awareness of the instrument.
He's having so much fun. That's undeniable. That rebound.
I think also what makes the tabla, what makes the tabla impressive as well is, you sort of saw the glimpse of what I think that why that instrument is so magical here. To it. Yeah, that just there. So, and obviously he exaggerates it even more when he does the ping pong, ping pong. That's what makes it really magical and odd, because there's not many percussive instruments. Like the closest thing that I've played at a good level is congas or bongos, right? And that's probably the closest thing I can relate it to. And you can do that where you mute and then you go do. You can kind of do that. It isn't as obvious as in this though.
I think perhaps because the goat skin in this particular the way that has been, yeah, it seems to be more flexible,
more elastic.
Yeah, rather than at least that's what it sounds like, a more a bouncier sound. I think perhaps with the pig skin it's tougher.
Because it sounds like a double struck row. Basically, like
that's right.
That's kind of what he's doing, but it's not, because it's so intricate. Because
bro, I'm so blissful in my ignorance.
He does so much, but he creates the illusion that it's just.
But the parts that he's doing a lot in don't get actually lost either.
Well, I think also he's very smart into not losing the audience in melody, like in lack of melody, because he does provide a rudiment, right? He's stuck with it all the way, and now he's just accentuating. Like imagine it was a double.
Yeah, it's just playing with the dynamics.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what he did at the end, though. Everything else he did at the start and all the way mid through is still somewhat of a mystery. I mean, essentially, I think I'm basically talking out of my arse here. But it's just intriguing in some of the sort of principles that you see in music, in minor percussion, sort of in Latin minor percussion, because that's obviously the only area which I guess I would consider myself decent at. So some of the principles are, the same, which is obviously quite refreshing. I think I'd be able to play that. Not that specific piece, no fucking way. But I'll be able to play the tabla.
Yeah.
But to play it like a tabla, no way.
But at least come to understand the instrument, I suppose.
No, man, because I think it's a language.
Right.
I think it's like a language.
That's
it's
how
like
I feel
speaking.
about...
It's speaking.
That's right. That's how I feel about the singing techniques too. Okay, you can teach me them, but I think it's gonna take me a lifetime.
I have no idea if any of this is enjoyable to anyone. It's just me scratching my head. But anyways, what do we have next? If you do, if you do have any more videos, so it seems you guys enjoy this, so let us know. But okay, so I know about this one a bit.
Okay.
This is Kuldeep and Pai. And you gotta see, I think it's like two little kids, and he sort of guide them, and he has quite a lot of lore and folklore, and sort of he has subtitles and stuff. I have no idea what to expect, but people were like, you have to at least watch a video from him. He's sort of like a teacher So let's give it a watch.
Okay.
And it's mixed lovely. What the hell? Salutations. Little Krishna. Straight away, you have to keep tempo. If not, you'll get lost in
Well,
the...
that's why they're so
Everyone.
physical about
All three
it.
of them. All three of them.
That's why they're so physical about it. Also, I love her vocal timbre.
She's awesome, right?
It's got this like coding to it. There's an edge of like natural alto, but yet not it.
She'd be great for alternative music. She has that natural gloss.
Yes, she does. Yeah, get complicated, baby. This is a lovely video.
So Ragam Gabira Nata. So what's the rag they use there?
How did she know when to come in?
Nice! It's my favorite piece of the day. These kids are outstanding.
How do they know? I don't understand this. Ooh, love the string section. Bro, breathe.
We'll play that section again. Play that section again. That's the best example I've got of the relationship between instrumentalization through minor percussion and vocals. That relationship is unique to India because it's so weird, man. It's as if you were explaining to me how a feel of a song was, but you didn't know what it was. It goes like takan tutum taka da tang tang.
But you're singing and you're actually.
And I'm trying to replicate that because when we were playing last month in all across different bars, different songs and stuff like that. Sometimes some of the feels, what the fuck, what was it? Takan taraga tugutum, pra.
Yeah.
And then you're like, takan taraga tum tum. And they've managed, right, because it also comes from dancing.
Yeah.
So tap is a good example of that.
Yes.
I've never seen Indian classical dancing apart from what we've seen in like some of the movies.
Yes.
I love this piece.
This is fantastic. It's brilliant.
I actually think if I was going to introduce anyone to, because I want the podcast, I want to be able to send the podcast to my friends, and which I do. But especially in this difficult subject, I have to say this is one of the most cognitively challenging podcasts
Indeed.
that we have done in a good while.
I totally agree.
Maybe ever. The other one was probably Italy. That was quite, because of operatic singing.
Yes.
Difficult to understand.
But then again, it's all coming down to the roots of
singing
music.
in different parts of the world.
And it's not even singing. I think you're getting down to the roots of music itself.
Yeah.
When it comes to Indian classical music, because I believe that a lot of the music that we know, the techniques that we are familiar with in the West, the things that I learned when I was
I've
learning,
originated there.
came from here in some way or another. The rhythms, the micronotes, the runs, the riffs. There must be some kind of like originated root to it, and I think this is the purest form to come close to the beginning.
Yeah, so I agree. I think also it's like, again, it's just so refreshing to see different concepts be played out so as the foundation, because it's not just like it's like an intricacy of the piece. No. The piece is that. It's the connection in between, tempo exploration, which that's probably the question I'd love to sit down with someone or have him on the podcast. So this is an open invitation to anyone who's somewhat an expert into this. And that's the thing I would love to discuss. What's the philosophy behind the tempo, and how do you introduce such signatures in different moments? Do you have maybe keywords that you sort of know? It's also quite hard because the pieces are so long. I don't know whether you understand that maybe a chorus.
But they haven't repeated anything.
They did, obviously, the katika tika.
But that's not actual. That's not actual words. That's part of the rag.
Sure, but I'm just saying that's the chorus.
But I suppose there's an obvious structure to the song.
Yeah.
Right.
So you kind of learn it like a Western
journey.
classical. I mean, in the musical score sense, aspect of things. The thing is, they don't have anything written. So it's a bit more challenging mentally.
Listen, the whole composition and delivery of this particular piece is.
This
it's
is just
brain
us
melting.
questioning shit left and right.
It's brain melting to me.
I should have swear, go.
I don't get it.
Direct correlation. Even in the accentuations of the tabla, they're the same.
It's like the same inflection as the singing.
But he attempts, like what we saw of Hussain in the previous one, he attempts to create a different frequency, a different tone.
Tonality to the rhythm.
Alongside, oh my God.
I love how the teacher is like just loving life.
I think it's more of an illusion.
It's a 2-2 though.
Yeah.
No, Efra, there's no illusion there. This is hard.
So signature remains the same.
But the dynamics are so sickening. I am lost.
ನಂದ ಸುಕುಮಾರ ನವನೀತ ಗತಿ ಚೋರ ಚಂದ ಮಣಿಹಾರ ಜಲಜ ಭವನಿತ ಧೀರ ನಂದ ಸುಕುಮಾರ ನವನೀತ ಗತಿ ಚೋರ ಚಂದ ಮಣಿಹಾರ ಜಲಜ ಭವನಿತ ಧೀರ ಜಯ ವಿಜಯೀ ಭವನಂದ ಕುಮಾರ ಕಾಲಿಯ ನಟನಾನಂದ ಗಂಭೀರ ಕರುಮಾರ ಸಹಿತ ಭಾವ ಶರೀರ ಧೀಂ ತತಾಂ ತಧೀಂ ತತಾಂ ತಥೈ.
God, the previous beat is unreal.
ತತಾಂ ತಥೈ ಧೀಂ ತಥೋಂ ತಧೀಂ ತತಾಂ ತಥೈ. ದಿಮಿತ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ಜಳು ಜಗಳ ಗಜಂತರಿ ತಗಳ ಗಜಂತರಿ ಧಿರಿಕು ತಾಕು ದಿಮಿತ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ಜಳು ಜಗಳ ಗಜಂತರಿ ತಗಳ ಗಜಂತರಿ ಧಿರಿಕು ತಾಕು ದಿಮಿತ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ಜಳು ಜಗಳ ಗಜಂತರಿ ತಗಳ ಗಜಂತರಿ ಧಿರಿಕು ತಾಕು ದಿಮಿತ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ಜಳು ವ್ರಜ ಕುಮಾರ ಮಹಿಮಾಲಂಕೃತವನ ಮಾಲಾಧುರಂಧರ ಕೃತ ಕೃತಾಕಾರ ತಜ್ಜಂ ತತ್ತಕಜ್ಜಂ ತತ್ತಕನ್ನಂ ತತ್ತಕರ್ರುಂ ತತ್ತಜ್ಜಂ ತತ್ತಕಜ್ಜಂ ತತ್ತಕನ್ನಂ ತತ್ತಕರ್ರುಂ ತತ್ತಾಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ತತಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ಜಲಂತರಿ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ಜಳು ತಾಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ತತಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ತತಜ್ಜಲಂತರಿ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ಜಳು ಭೂತ ನರ್ತನ ಚಿತ್ರಿತ ಮುದ್ರಿತ ವಿದ್ಯುತ ಮುದ್ಭವನ ಅದ್ಭುತಮದ್ಭುತ ತಾಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ತತಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ತತಜ್ಜಲಂತರಿ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ಜಳು ತಾಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ತತಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ದಿದಿಷು ತತ್ಕಾಲ ವಿಧಿನು ತತ್ಶೀಲ ಅತಿಶಯ ನೀಲ ಧೃತ ಪದ ಲೋಲ ದಿದಿಷು ತತ್ಕಾಲ ವಿಧಿನು ತತ್ಶೀಲ ಅತಿಶಯ ನೀಲ ಧೃತ ಪದ ಲೋಲ ತಾಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ತಾಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ಜಲಂತರಿ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ಜಳು ದಿದಿಷು ತತ್ಕಾಲ ವಿಧಿನು ತತ್ಶೀಲ ಅತಿಶಯ ನೀಲ ಧೃತ ಪದ ಲೋಲ ತಾಕು ಜಲಂತರಿ ತತಕು
It's the blue one, Krishna.
ಜಲಂತರಿ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ಜಳು ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ದಿಮಿತಾಕ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ದಿಮಿತಾಕ ದಿಮಿತ ಕಿತ ದಿಮಿತಾಕ
You are insane.
ಕೋಂ ತತ್ತೈ.
That's crazy.
What the f?
Oh, come on! Throw the
He
freaking
essentially
shoe.
did a fill with his mouth. Isn't that crazy? He essentially did like a percussion fill with his mouth. And that's also it's quite so it's making more sense things in how in music in the Indian music industry, especially for alignment of movies or perhaps just for music videos, they do have the capability of playing naturally with the flexibility that their time signatures are quite elastic in the sense of a 2x2 you can fit quite a lot of things there. And you can play I was listening to Marvin McQuitty before he passed away, and he was talking about time elasticity, and you can create the illusion that a 2/2 is longer.
Yeah.
By
can
so
be-
1 2 1 2 1 2 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and I haven't left the signature, so you can add those type of fills, or you can add those type of rudiments or paradiddles,
Natural dynamics to that space.
but you elongate things. So it's like
Or you accelerate. So in tap, there was this really difficult section of the syllabus, especially for me, because I've never done anything percussive in my life until I put a pair of tap shoes on, and that's the closest I could come to understanding rhythms and stuff.
Percussion.
So
very closely. I didn't know about that about tap. It's very closely related to
well, it is. Yeah, it's basically playing the drums with your feet.
Yeah.
It's just carrying on a tempo dynamics and rudiments with your toes. So it's really interesting because when my teacher used to explain to us as a class the understanding that you could be at the front of the bar, or you could be syncopated halfway through the bar, and you could be pulling back towards the end of the bar, and all of this dynamics happen in the same stagnant time signature. So you could be playing with a 4/4 or a 2/2, for example, like you're having it here, but you could be accentuating different sounds at the beginning of the bar, halfway through the bar, on the beat of the bar, and then at the end. So there's a lot of elasticity, that you could really understand, and it comes like dialogue, because it's like different inflections, like different words would have different inflections, and So it's like playing with that idea of different accents in the same stagnant time signature.
Because you do that in speech quite often. I mean, for example, it's like in many of these reviews or whatever, it's like, oh God. It wasn't a God. It wasn't a G-O-D. It was a God. It was a G-O-O-O-O-D.
That's right.
Right. And I guess with the tempo, what you're trying to say as well, that's why paradiddles are so important. To learn different accentuations of different hits. The ones, the twos, the threes, or the fours. But I guess what they do really well here, and it's sort of so ingrained in the culture and from the beginning since they're so young, is their their foundational understanding of time signatures. Even though the time signature is not like a 16/8 or anything like that, quite mental. 6/8, it's the most popular from what I've seen, apparently. Which is fucking odd. Why would you do that?
It's complicated, but I have to be honest. If you want to approach anything on a 2/2, it feels so natural. Because the most natural inclination is a 4/4.
Yeah.
Right? So to work on a 2/2 is actually quite physically demanding.
Yeah, I presume it's a 2/2. I haven't actually paid that close attention. I think it is, yeah.
They've been stuck there since right from the beginning. I don't think there's a question to that.
What I'm saying is, their understanding of timing, it's really, really profound.
The understanding of tempo dynamics is incredible. See, I'm having a hard time with that.
Stays the same. That's what I mean about the illusion. You only learn that shit playing.
That's right. Only doing it.
I love that. Janutam.
They would make the best raps ever. Bro.
That's why I'm so fascinated by the language. Or worship, or spoken word. Yeah, I want to be able to send the podcast to my friends. And the reason why I'm saying that is sometimes some of the pieces that we check out are so complex. They're not music heads. They don't understand anything apart from if it sounds good or bad. And I think this would be the best example of, look, this is what classical music from India sounds like. Because it's so enjoyable, so melodious. It's so innocent in its own sense as well.
Yes.
Given their... obviously the presence of the little kids and stuff, and it's so joyful and bright.
But it also gives this idea that it's easy to digest, given the fact that there is somewhat like a context explanation, and even though a lot of it's down to the performance itself, I have to be honest, the inner work behind this production is insane.
Awesome. That's my favorite one.
That is I am lost
What
for
have we got
words.
next?
I really don't understand.
I do apologize. Again, I don't know if any of you were expecting perhaps like us to understand all of this like this. I do hope you're still enjoying it, and thanks if you're watching this long. It's just, it's a quite an odd experience to try and dissect this because it's so new.
We have never, I don't think I have ever gotten so deep.
No, this is the first time ever we've heard classical music for this amount of time.
Yeah.
That isn't like I guess you guys requested as well, like by Bajirao Mastani. We've done a review of that, and we did kind of speak about the musical score and stuff like that. But we didn't have a chance to dive that deep into the musical score. So we didn't decide to put any like Bollywood movies that we had watched or anything like that. We kind of just trying to look at the core of things.
Yes.
And talking about the core of things, this is in that festival that everyone was sort of recommending. It's the Darbara Festival. And these are sisters, Ranjani and Gayatri. They are some of the most, some of the most iconic siblings,
Renowned.
you know, sisters.
Right.
So this is Music of India,
Okay.
Darbar Festival.
Darbar. That's good.
It looks like the Beats logo.
Oh yeah, look.
They brought a violin. So pause. So you are getting. So you have two tampuras, a violin,
Yes.
a dolak,
Yes.
or a kol. I'm not too sure if what he's holding is a kol or a dolak. I
I
can't
think
really
it's
tell.
a doll, but you have the
The
vase.
pot. I don't know. Yeah.
The what is it called? Clay pot that they play. That is so cool.
And brother, look at his fingers. They're taped to the gills,
Yes. Yes.
especially
yes.
the tips. Well, I would imagine that's where you hurt the most.
Yeah,
I have quite
definitely.
from tennis. I guess quite blister prone
Blister-prone
hands.
hands.
So now I look like an absolute muppet, like a magician, because I have to wear gloves when I play,
Ooh,
which is so
snazzy.
stupid.
They give you a flair, Efra. You look fantastic when you play.
No,
They
I
give
mean
you
nothing
gloves.
wrong with it, to be completely honest. It's just I love feeling it. But yeah, so I just want to get a feel, but it's either that or bleed to death.
Yeah.
So go on.
तुका पंढरी श्री गेला तुका पंढरी श्री गेला तुका पंढरी
It's a call. Nice introduction to the violin. Dude, the choice of the violin is so clean. It's so funny how she basically engaged every muscle possible except for moving the larynx.
Hey,
Isn't
dude,
that so weird? Like, how do you have that much control, bro?
I have no
She
idea.
engaged everything.
Everything. And actually, if you pay attention to what it's bulging and actually interacting,
yeah.
it's the veins that come through the front of the larynx. So they wrap towards the front. So all of the efforts actually in maintaining the positioning of the larynx, just keeping the larynx in place. Therefore, the blood pumps further harder in this area, because as the air is running out, because the singing phrases are so long, your body is fighting for its life to maintain the set positioning of the larynx, and then you're also exerting so much effort up here in your upper body, in your torso.
It's quite physical about singing,
because without the actual physical movement, there wouldn't be shift in the tone. So it's like it's a workout. I understand why you would choose to be sitting down. You know, like, because they sing for a really long periods of time too. Like the training processes, given the fact that we've seen a few videos where we can see where the training process comes from, and like how excruciating it is, because it's so delicate in the precision of the note accuracy, as well as the long singing phrases, and the difficulty opposed naturally by the time signatures and the dynamics of the singing phrase. So, bro, it's a taxing practice.
Task. I do have a question, and by the way, if you do have any more information, do share in the comments. As I said, I want to be able for people to be able to come to Future Friday and hopefully learn as well, as much as we are. So I'm sure looking at the comments, like some sort of forum, that would help. So the question is, what's the relationship between sitting down and classical? Is it because of the relationship of praying? Is that where it comes from? Because all of these instruments are played cross-legged, and
it's like a requisite.
Yeah. So if you have the answer, come on, mate.
Yes.
I was gonna say, the ice, mate. Can I have that necklace?
Would
I be allowed to wear it? Could I just wear that type of jewelry, or does it have like a specific meaning? Did they earn it?
I love their saris. They're so pretty.
The saris is the name of the robes, right?
Yeah. Well, the traditional attire. Yeah.
Do you know? I thought you can just wear it.
I don't know.
I thought it was like only for special occasions, right?
Yes, apparently it's like for really important, like your Sunday best, basically.
Because the material is probably what? I don't know what it is.
Oh man, I don't know. I
don't know
have
what it
so
looks
many
like.
questions.
Silk, maybe?
It could be.
Cashmere? They'll die of...
So hot.
Of...
Why would it be cashmere out of everything? It would be so hot.
I don't know.
It would be so hot.
Go on.
You see that singing line there, I would be able to replicate it shifting the larynx. I don't know how on the earth you could recreate that modulation without actually moving the larynx. Just listen to this. That's but I'm doing that because I'm shifting my larynx. How do they do it without it? I can't even begin
Let
to
me
try.
choke you.
Do it.
Just hold the larynx.
Just do it. I don't know how they do that. And actually, if you pay attention,
maybe you can practice it by talking, but not moving your larynx. But also go talking up. But I just moved my larynx.
There you go. See, how do they do that? But look at this. Look at this. You can even see the muscles engaging, how they bulge in different ways too.
I hope they zoom in. Go and play it.
That's crazy.
Tambura is huge.
You see how it's completely engaged in ways that I had never seen before? Like, look how lifted it is here.
Also,
and you see how the veins, like, they just bulge?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. She is
the
exerting.
front.
You can see her clavicle just showing everything. It's like she's about to do a chest press.
But it's interesting, though, because in the Western singing technique, when you see veins bulging, it's the artery that comes through here, right?
Is that the carotid? I just made that up.
You made me question my whole life. I was like, what? But is the most prominent artery going through here, and it's actually seen as bad singing practice because it's actually forcing too much air through the tiny little muscles of the vocal folds. But the ones that you're seeing here, they come front like this, right? So it's not actually the arteries engaging. It's not effort that you're seeing. It's actually muscle work.
Crazy, bro.
Here.
Bhora's huge, bro.
That's so cool.
Full drag and recordings available.
They sound like one voice.
Their mannerisms are the same. Wait, what the fuck?
They're not even looking at each other.
That's interesting. I don't mean to overanalyze, but because they don't modulate, well, they don't sort of shift their larynx. She was looking for more kinesthetic feedback. I mean, they obviously do anchor and look for more sort of, they do exert more physical effort when they sing because, well, as what you mentioned, to create the shift. But she did something about 3 times, so I don't mean to overanalyze, I'm just pointing what I saw.
Yes.
She found kinesthetic feedback through,
here.
maybe she's looking for the vibration, maybe
No,
she's
I
jaw modulation.
I think the feeling here, it's because right here between this little part here that joins your face with the little tingly part here in your ear.
Yeah.
You could feel vibration really nicely there, but you could also be in complete control of the jaw tension that you might be creating, because given the fact that there's so much physical work and exertion of energy throughout the whole of the singing phrase, you also want to feel how tight your jaw might get, and this is a really clear, good tactical kinesthetic way of feeling it. You also can get the vibrations from this area down in your throat just by touching the side of your cheek that's connected to that little part of your ear. So you're in like it's a hard way to explain it, but there's this vibration that just goes through, and then you're somewhat connected then visually to what's actually happening and what muscles are engaging.
Kinesthetic awareness, that's what it's called.
In the moment.
It happens, you know, a lot of people do it, especially at a high level of anything.
Yes.
Sports, percussion,
singing.
It happens because
touch your diaphragm.
Yeah,
you gotta feel it. Your chest. You gotta feel the resonance and stuff like that. Yeah.
matter of fact, I think everyone does this. For example, when you're writing with a pen,
how the pen feels in different
matters.
angles.
If you're playing tennis, if you hit a frame, that's gonna feel different.
If you're playing the piano, exactly in what position you're gonna touch the key itself.
Yeah, and how smooth the transition
That's
was,
right.
and how little effort you had to exert to sort of shift.
Or how much effort you're willing to exert. So,
all of that is kinesthetic awareness.
Yeah.
Again, I don't mean to overanalyze, but it's just something I noticed that was quite interesting. Also, they do have to be quite relaxed for quite a long time because they can't exert that amount of effort continuously because they'll obviously run out of steam. And I think these concerts go on for a little while.
They're long.
You don't want to create any unnecessary tension as much as you're able to withhold for however long these concerts are.
Exactly. I think that's the main reason why we might see them performed cross-legged on the floor. Also, there is this.
I mean, that comes with its own set of challenges.
Yes, but there is this really cool thing that comes from being on the ground that really allows resonance to fulfill its purpose, because you are so connected to the floor, and everything it's vibrating on the floor too. So like all the rhythm sections, every hit you will feel it on the floor. Even if it's a concrete floor, there is a vibration to it.
Giving more kinesthetic awareness.
Exactly. So I think there is also that benefit. But these are just, I guess, educated guesses.
Observations.
Yeah, I have absolutely no scientific backup to any of this.
Before we check out the last one,
Yes.
can you go on Google and just search up Indian classical singing?
Yeah.
Because we do have one more video of some unfamiliar brand new names. Classical music. Because it's obviously Carnatic, which is what we're going to listen to last. Is more of a fusion between classical and Carnatic.
Well, we just saw Carnatic music. So
Yeah,
Indian classical music.
Go on the Wikipedia thing. I'm not saying that this may be the best source, but I guess it's perhaps the best of. It's the classical music of the Indian subcontinent. It has two major traditions: the North Indian classical music, known as Hindustani, and the South Indian expression known as Carnatic. What we're gonna look at the last one, I think that this one we just watched was
Carnatic.
Southern.
No, yeah, it was Carnatic. It said it in the introduction of the.
Yeah, he said right there at the bottom, mate.
Oh yeah.
Not go on the bottom. The young Carnatic singers borrow from Hindustani music using rag, chandra, kaun's spacious shape of colour and uninterrupted devotional song. Well, take that as you will. It's Carnatic, but it's Hindustani.
No,
they're Carnatic singers, but they're singing a Hindustani piece.
The other way around.
No.
They said borrowed.
The young Carnatic singers borrow from Hindustani music.
That's right, borrowed. So that means they originally sing Hindustani style, but they're singing a Carnatic piece. They're borrowed.
No. They're Carnatic singers, and they're going to sing a Hindustani piece.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
Isn't that what that sentence means?
I don't know. My brain is not working with me
Father?
anymore. I lost
What
it.
does this sentence mean?
Okay.
Well, again, this is quite cognitively challenging. The whole podcast, I have to say. So if we do seem a bit off, that's what it is. What the young Carnatic singers borrow from Hindustani music. Does that mean that they are Carnatic singers singing Hindustani music, or does that mean that they're Hindustani singers singing Carnatic music?
Oh my god.
That's like you guys are flanked. I think it means what I think.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go with
I'll go with my interpretation because I'm always right. It's the classical. Okay, these traditions were not distinct until about the 15th century. During the period of Mughal rule of the Indian subcontinent, the traditions separated and evolved into distinct forms. Hindustani music emphasizes improvisation and exploration of all aspects of a raga, while Carnatic performances tend to be short composition based. So okay, fair enough. Actually, that's great.
However, the two systems continued to have more common features
than differences. Fair enough. I mean, that would probably make more sense. That's a good. If you look at the previous piece, not the one we just checked out now, lots of exploration.
Yes, indeed.
This one felt more like it had a score behind it.
Yes.
The other, same as Mahesh in the first piece, it is exploration with some introductions of structure given the piece. But the song itself is only 4 minutes long.
That's right.
But his performance is 11. So lots of exploration of the whole meaning of raga and tala. So Indian classical music has two foundational elements, raga and tala. The raga, based on a varied repertoire of swara, notes including microtones, forms the fabric of a deeply intricate melodic structure, while the tala is the measure of the time cycles.
Which is frigging nuts.
So that's how we should refer to it from now on when we're talking
tala.
about the time signature and the time exploration and elasticity. It's just the tala. The raga gives an artist a palette to build a melody from sounds. I think they should mention that is fucking highly structurized.
And it's absolutely insane.
Bound by the Lord.
Yeah.
While the tala provides them with a creative framework for rhythmic improvisation using time. So I would, in Indian classical music, sorry mate, in Indian classical music, the space between the notes is often more important than the notes themselves.
I agree.
And in traditional skews, Western, and it traditionally eschews Western classical concepts such as harmony, counterpoint, chords, or modulation.
Yeah.
I think we should have started the podcast reading that. But anyways,
It's never too late to learn.
well, you're looking at, a one shot, one take type of shit. So
I have to be completely honest. The idea of having two isolated disciplines that come together in one singing phrase,
yeah,
it's completely nuts. Of course, yeah, we work in that manner in the West too, but it's not that. They're not isolated items. They kind of work together. You don't think, okay, this singing phrase, it's completely bound by triplets, and it has 7 16s and 16 notes, and it has. Only if you're looking at the score, you would think mathematically according to that, and even then, you kind of like not avoid it, but it becomes cohesively one with the melody, right? So you never really think about the tala of the singing phrase, like you don't really. That's not a thought process, and it's such an isolated item to this discipline.
yeah. Well, I guess you kind of do in much more orthodox music, and I think that's probably the only similarities that they share. Is that you look at kind of the musical composition and then the time signature of it, but you never do it in this type of depth, for sure. I couldn't agree more.
It's just so detailed, dude. It's so
Again,
detailed.
do apologize if this isn't the best structurized, and perhaps I don't know what to say, because I also want to try. We want to try our best. Mm-hmm. But you're kind of seeing the organic, and I think that's why a lot of you guys tune in.
You're embarking in the discovery journey. This is the most,
I just
honest discovery of all.
I just hope it's enjoyable to watch, and because it is a blast for us.
Yeah,
but
it is awesome.
We can't be selfish and just kind of focus on us, because it's only thanks to you that we're kind of discovering all this amazing stuff. But anyways, let's go into the last performance of the day.
Okay.
This is KS
Chithra.
Chithra.
Chithara.
Mm-hmm. Apologies. And Sharreth. And this is a fusion performance. Let's give it a watch.
Okay.
Happened on TV. I hope you get to see this.
തിങ്കൾ പൊട്ടു തൊട്ട ഹിമവൽ ചെയ്താഗ്ര ശൃംഗത്തിൽ നൃത്യധൂർജടി
That's the tala being played in ways that you could never even think of, okay? I just wanted to make that comment because I learned something new.
Yeah.
Continue.
Nice.
I say that again.
That was a beautiful phrase, right?
That's gorgeous.
സത്യശിവ സൗന്ദര്യത്തൻ ഭദ്രപീഠമീ ശൈലം ശിവശൈലം സത്യശിവ സൗന്ദര്യത്തൻ ഭദ്രപീഠമീ ശൈലം ശിവശൈലം സത്യശിവ
I would love to see that score, whatever it is that
What are they
they're
reading? Yeah.
I would love to
Come on,
see
camera,
it.
give me the behind the scenes.
Literally, stand behind them. I want to see it. Show it to me. Cool drumming.
Again, the fusion aspect of things. I love her voice, but love. Bro, she's so youthful. It's like a parody to a vocal.
That's beautiful gorgeousness.
अनादिमध्यान्तमी विश्वचलनम् करवद्य सङ्गीतालापनम्
How can she do that, bro? It's not real, bro.
My brain cells gave up like halfway.
It's not real.
It was like, dude, enjoy it because you're not gonna understand it. I was like, okay.
we essentially do have to go to one of those concerts. I'd love to say fusion concert, much more than a like straight Carnatic or a straight Hindustani. Because those ones, I think I'll just get lost. Like, what the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? I'll get lost.
What?
But a fusion one, I think I'll be able to sort of...
Fall into that trance.
Yeah. And then learn and then gradually go to sort of...
Yes.
They're much more, you know,
I would
hardcore classical.
Yeah, I would definitely have to start baby steps, though. Because I think it would be too... I would miss so many of the beauties.
Magic.
Yeah, of the beauties of it.
That's why I'm so...
By no understanding.
That's why I'm so kind of... Not tormented, but like on
But
the
it is
fence about this
tormenting.
podcast. Because, I mean, essentially what the podcast is about is like us discovering
Are you
new
okay?
music. It's like us discovering new music and things like that. But I think a lot of people tune in is because we are able to understand specific stuff every now and then. You know what I mean?
Dude, but here
and try our best. But
I'm so out of
we're out of our depth. Yeah.
And I love it.
And I think you could tell in the Zakir Hussain video that I am out of my depth because maybe that's what's cool to watch. I don't have no idea.
Yeah,
I
let
don't
us
even
know
know
what
what
you
I'm
think
trying to
about
say.
it. Yeah, what the hell?
After this, I would like to go to the community post. Because I want to give a shout out to some of the people that sort of this is awesome. You've essentially are changing our lives
Basically.
in a musical manner and also in a very real manner.
You have no idea how incredibly, overwhelmingly positive the response was to this specific podcast.
But to be fair, they usually like that for everything.
I agree.
Thing is, we were really afraid of this one. I have to say, we
Yes.
were very worried, and it was also really hard to make the list. Like, because we wanted to add names that we weren't familiar with. Like, obviously, we could have added like Lata, we could have added KJ, KJ Judas, KY.
KJ Jesudas.
Yesudas, that's right,
Yeah.
that's right. Apologies. But those were we were kind of familiar with some of them. So we wanted to dive into brand new territory, which
Yeah.
is scary sometimes, especially when it's so
Different.
intricate.
And so detailed. Like, there's so many laws.
Yeah, bro, like
to
we're not checking fucking Colombian pop. You know what I mean? It's like,
Exactly.
this is like the
And
root of all, arguably the root of all things. It's
yeah.
like, I'm nervous, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, this is wild.
I've been 2 hours nervous, or however long we've gone. Just love that tabla. Sick. Sick.
What an arrangement.
What banger? What the
Bro.
Brother, breathe.
See, in that particular setting, and the vowel that he's chosen to maintain the breath flow in the continuous note.
Just an
It's
E,
actually, yeah, it's so breath economic.
Right, the
You could be
E.
there for bars and bars on end, because the E actually doesn't need any effort.
Little.
Yeah, and you could continue without any vibrato. You could hold that straight note for a really long time if you know a lot about breath economy and how to settle your body, because you need to be very, very settled.
Which they obviously do. And it's a
Which they
different type of
obviously understand.
concert as well. It's a different type of experience. It isn't the experience where, wow, what the fuck, you know, everyone goes crazy. This is more of a,
Yeah, it's definitely a mental challenge. It's like it's
not just for us, it seems for everyone. Everyone's just there like,
and you know what? It's crazy to me that the common people, the common audience,
yeah.
appreciates everything about this.
Not only
like, to
appreciates
its-
it, has a deep understanding of it.
Yeah, I'm like, bro,
Yeah, this is like jazz complex, bro. This
what
is-
jazz, dude? This is another level of music. But just pay attention to the choice of vowel that he's going for. And right off the bat, you see that the modulation is different to everything else that he's done. And you see how that breath was settled down?
Oh my god.
Brilliant.
How long was that?
A few seconds. But look how he settles the breath down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bars.
Damn.
8 freaking bars. This man held his breath for 8 bars. Huh?
Yeah, about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's people that couldn't even hold their breath without doing anything else for 60.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I wonder if they're good swimmers. Yeah. They probably are, right?
You would imagine.
You would think so.
But then it goes to the argument of how efficient will their technique be as well.
100% effort.
Probably
You
garbage.
have
No, I mean technique.
Oh, I mean no. But like divers, I've seen opera singers, like they're training.
Yeah, well, if they go
It's
underwater,
basically-
see who can hold their breath for longer.
They become really good divers because of that.
I would
yeah?
bet on this guy, and I would bet on operatic singers as well. But I just mean it as a good swimmer. It's like, no, he's probably not.
No, but I mean as in
Can
like
he-
divers.
Yeah, a mermaid, he'll be great. One.
Yes, you are a great mermaid.
He'll be a great fish.
You're a fish.
We can.
Just a mere 4 bars.
Bro, I wonder how she speaks.
She probably set quite high.
Nice. We have to.
What? It's so wild.
Just like a tongue twister as well. You see, he's dragging the bar. The tabla player. That's unbelievable, man.
That is just not real. That just
Unbelievable.
isn't real.
That's one of my favorites as well of today.
Dude, this just doesn't make sense.
Unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And I find that so funny when he says the word unbelievable. I played unbelievable today. That's outstanding. That's one of my favorite pieces as well. Can you go to the community post?
Yeah.
It's so interesting, man. And I love the fact... the reason why I like this fusion one as well...
But for us, it was actually a shh.
Who is that? It's the reason as well why I like that version as well. That's a funny picture. Is that the one you posted?
Yeah, that's the one I posted. Hello, look at my funny face.
It looks like you have a messed up lip.
I'm like being funny, you know?
Like Hamzat Shemaev.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was a good idea. Someone said, please do a Feature Friday episode on Indian classical dance.
Oh, fun. I would love to see that.
That'd be quite good. Obviously, do let us know if you'd like us to do a part 2. A lot of people...
I don't know how enjoyable this is for anybody.
Yeah, we'll see, right? But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much... We got everyone. We obviously can't fit everything else as well. But I just wanted to show you guys that this is how we, in case you're new to the channel and stuff like that, this is how we choose it. Obviously, we do tend to go for the ones that have the most likes because that means that the community obviously agrees and stuff like that.
But look, there's so many wonderful suggestions,
Yeah.
and you could click in any of the suggestions in this.
And I'm sure they're fantastic,
post.
all of them. And we do genuinely try to look at all of them. It's just... it's really hard to gauge what obviously the whole community wants us to do. So do feel free to like each other's stuff as well. We do tend to choose the ones with the most likes, because again, it means the community does want us to check that out as a majority.
That's right.
And this happens a lot with every podcast, really, with every part of the world, which is unbelievable. And I want the podcast, especially with one like this, even though I don't think structurally it was the best, but I think if anyone had curiosity into figuring out Indian classical or listening to some of the pieces that they didn't think they like, or maybe they did, I think this would be good. So do feel free to share it. Some people sometimes ask us that if it's okay to share it or repost it and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Do whatever you want, really. It only helps, right? It only helps, so feel free. Apart from that,
you guys have been a blessing today for us, widening our knowledge and witnessing our cluelessness, I suppose, in this particular journey. I would like to thank you all for taking the time to be with us today and suggesting amazing music.
If you'd like to support the podcast and things like those, because a lot of people do ask, you can go to featurefridaystore.com and you can purchase yourself some of the merchandise, which is lovely. I'm really proud of it. Right now, the original edition is the only one available.
That's right.
The spring and summer collection are coming soon, so do watch out for that.
And then we'll see you on Sunday for Feature Friday Plus.
Yeah. And
Have
Saturday.
a happy weekend.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Wonderful one.